This is the revised version of the Atari Punk console kind of layout that I did before. I've just kind of smartened it up and fixed a few little issues with the footprint for the variable resistors. There's a bodge on it still. You can possibly see just under where the speaker connects. Basically, somehow I hadn't connected the ground of a speaker, so there will have to be another revision. But I think probably that's it. And also for this one, I also I wanted to break the layout down in such a way that it's clear what the different parts of the circuit were doing. So this line here, basically, this circuit, this part here is one circuit based around this 555, which is running in an A-stable configuration. So this basically moderates the frequency. And then this is the monostable part of the Atari Punk console, which effectively just controls the pulse width. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've done another video about the Atari Punk console, and I did a write-up for Hackaday on it a while back. And it's a cool little circuit, and it sounds quite nice. But basically, that's what it is. It's an A-stable followed by a monostable, and you can think of the monostable as just altering the pulse width. But what actually happens is, so I assume you probably know that like a monostable basically is just triggered and then it holds the output for some period of time. So if that period of time is longer than like one period of oscillation from the A-stable, it will effectively mask an oscillation and reduce the frequency. So the two interact to a certain degree, both the frequency and the pulse width. So the pulse width kind of changes the frequency too. Anyway, the thing about it is it sounds a bit cool. Sounds kind of retro and weird. I did a build. We did a workshop at the local hackerspace around the Cracklebox, which is another kind of instrument synth design, and it went okay. But like some people had problems because there's a CAN kind of op amp. It's not a very old op amp. There's a CAN op amp in there, and people had some problems kind of soldering that, getting that in, because it turned out we actually got a lot of kind of kids mostly, and some of them had issues with that. And the other thing about the Cracklebox is it's not really a very easy circuit to explain, because I'm not sure I really understand it myself. It's kind of like a phase shift oscillator, but it's working with the fact that the op amp that I used had no frequency compensation, so it was very prone to oscillation, and it was terrible. So it was a bit hard, a bit complicated for the kids to kind of solder, and I felt kind of bad because I couldn't really explain how how the circuit worked. So I don't think I'm going to learn a lot from it. The APC is kind of a bit more interesting. It's a bit easier to solder, and I think it's actually a bit more satisfying in that it produces this kind of consistent noise. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of a nice building block. And the other thing I'd like to do is maybe combine it with a sequencer, and we may do a sequencer project. But it's a small little board that I think is good for just kind of playing with, and maybe might be a first or second board for like teaching soldering. It'd be kind of cool. So yeah, that's where we're at. I think I will probably send out some for some more for fabrication. Maybe I'll do like a run with Seed this time, who are a bit cheaper. I do basically my process is I do prototypes with OshPark, so these are all OshPark boards, and they come very quickly and they make nice boards and they're quite cheap. So I'm getting from the UK, I'm getting basically a 2 week turnaround with OshPark, and sometimes they're nice enough to like upgrade you automatically to their speed, their quick service, so you get them even quicker, which is awesome. Seed generally, they take a month, and sometimes more than a month. It depends which shipping option you use, but they take quite a long time. But you get a lot more boards with Seed than you do with OshPark. So you get, for this size board, I would get 10 boards for the same price that I'd get 3 from OshPark. And then for bigger boards, I find I can't justify OshPark, and then I just